does, that Judge Dillon does, no matter what level the court is, we go through the same procedures. The only difference is they have law clerks to help you. We don't. We have...
they get paid a little more, too.
They get paid a little more, is right. We have research, we do have a free service, legal service available to all the judges in the state, and that's our resource center where if you have legal questions, you can call them up and they will help you, and they're a great asset. And but most of the time I find I'm doing my own research online or in the law library or whatever the case may be.
That's the mark of a conscientious judge, and it goes to the comment I made earlier about you, which is you're very fair, very knowledgeable, and actually a credit to the system. Well, I understand we have another caller. Good morning, caller. Caller, are you there? Good morning. Lost the caller?
Maybe it's my wife. She wants to know if I'm going to clean the chimney today. She's been after me for 2 weeks.
There's a lot of outside work that needs to be done over the next few days.
Get the stove going, yeah.
Apparently we lost the caller. Caller, if you'd like to call back, we still have time to take your call.
Please do.
Judge, you just scratched the surface of some of the things you do. You also do penal law offenses, too. You do all the vehicle and traffic offenses. Anybody that gets picked up for a traffic infraction in the town of Chautauqua comes before the town of Chautauqua Town Court. But every other offense, other than those very rare ones that go a direct presentment to grand jury, which are probably 0.1%, every offense that occurs within the town of Chautauqua eventually winds up in your court. Is that not correct?
That's absolutely correct. Everything starts with us, except, as you mentioned, if there's a secret indictment by the grand jury, that could go directly to Judge Ward. For arraignment, we wouldn't see that matter, but basically, is the caller there now?
Yes.
Good morning, caller.
Good morning. How are you?
Very well, thanks.
Good.
How are you?
This is Linda Spalding.
Oh, hi, Linda. How are you?
Hi, Linda.
I'm doing great.
So what do you have for us this morning?
Well, I'm not calling about senior services with the Office for the Aging. I'm calling as a concerned citizen.
Okay.
There is going to be a legislative meeting this Wednesday coming up. I believe it's the 27th at 6:30, but it will not be in the legislative chambers. It will be at the Chautauqua Lake Auditorium.
Has that been publicized other than what you just said?
I believe it has been in the paper.
Hopefully.
And we're telling everybody about it. It's a very crucial meeting.
Is that Chautauqua Lake School?
Chautauqua Lake School.
Okay.
Chautauqua, the new school, the big, beautiful school, in the auditorium at 6:30 p.m., and it's going to be about budgets. Oh. And there'll be a time for people to speak. They're discussing possibly cutting back more with the Office for the Aging. I am not calling about my job because this does not affect me. The position I have is funded through federal grants that have been in existence since Fred Bonacker over 30 years ago. So I'm not calling about my job. I'm calling about some very crucial things and services that our seniors need. And anybody that's a senior or is concerned about senior services should go to this meeting. I would like to mention that our director, Dr. Mary Ann Spano, said that there's been an 8% cut in next year's budget with our department.
Wow.
And there are approximately 100 frail elderly in our county waiting for senior services but can't get them because of shortages.
So the budget meeting is intended to cut even more from that?
Well, they're talking about it, and people have to go to express themselves. If we're not happy with the way things are going, we have to let our elected officials know. There's no other way to do it.
That's absolutely correct.
Walking along the street complaining about it does absolutely no good. You have to let your officials know. So I urge everybody to go this Wednesday.
And that's a good idea, and hopefully the media will cover it a little bit more to remind people to be there. That's absolutely correct, by the way, Linda. As you know, in anything dealing with government, you tell your council people, your legislators, your congress people, whatever level you're at, if you don't tell them what problem exists, they think everything is fine. If you don't tell them, for example, that there's a problem with cuts to senior programs, they're going to think it's okay. So you really do need to go out and express your opinions. It's very important.
Yes, and it's a very important time because people are worried about their property taxes. Nobody wants their property taxes to go up.
They're apparently going to go way up anyway, so.
So there's a big concern about this. However, that we have a very large senior population. One of the largest in New York State. At one time, it used to be the largest. We have about 18% of the population, I believe, 17 or 18% consists of people who are 60 years of age and over.
And of course, we're 5th in the country in per capita taxes.
Yes, we are.
Isn't that a proud thing to have? I mean, we're at least Chautauqua County's ranked high in something.
Weren't we the highest on the ratio on property taxes?
Yeah, but per capita, we're 5th.
Wow.
Actually, it's one of it's Niagara or,
Terrible.
yeah, one of the other counties. Actually, in the top 10 in the country, 8 of them are from New York, so that says something as well.
Yeah.
Linda, it's always a pleasure, and have an enjoyable weekend, and I'm sure you'll be there advocating on Wednesday.
I will, and I will be there with the group of seniors. But have a great weekend, and I'm enjoying your show.
Well,
Thank you very much
for watching.
Thank you.
Just to give you a little idea of what we do handle, we are chartered and required to handle everything from environmental conservation law, of course penal law, we've talked about vehicle and traffic law. You even get some constitutional law once in a while, some executive law, but it goes on and on. The list is very long, and we do even handle some stuff that county court doesn't handle. The other thing is, during nights, weekends, and holidays, the town and village courts are the acting family court for the county, which is always a wonderful thing. It could happen and does happen that on a Friday night you'll get a call from an attorney who would like to have his client granted a family court order of protection. Unlike in our local courts where you must have a criminal matter first before we can issue a stay-away or an order of protection, you can get a stay-away order in family court without a companion criminal charge. It's just a matter of coming in at 9 o'clock at night on a Friday or whatever Saturday morning and having them fill out the paperwork and sign an affidavit stating they will proceed to obtain a regular order from family court the first day they're open for regular business, which is usually that Monday.
Well, in addition to that, though, Judge, and people likely don't understand this, not only do you have to get up or go out for family court matters, frequently town justices and village justices are called out in the middle of the night. It could be any night, it's not just weekends, called out in the middle of the night to arraign somebody, which is the right of the defendant, by the way, to arraign somebody that the police don't want to issue an appearance ticket to.
And that is on the verge of being changed. Thanks to Sheriff Gerasi, there's a matter pending in the state legislature now to allow, and to give you a little backup, as you know, in city courts, they have the ability to detain an individual up to 72 hours prior to arraignment, which saves the city court judges from having to get out at 3 in the morning. We're hoping the state legislature will grant that same ability to the village and town courts in the county of Chautauqua, which is thanks to Sheriff Gerasi, because it is a money saver for them, that we will not have to come out at 3 in the morning, or let's say the requirement is going to be far less, to come out at 3 or 4 in the morning on the weekend, because that individual will be able to be detained in the county sheriff's or the county jail without a securing order up to 72 hours before they'll have to be arraigned. And we hope that goes through.
I'll bet you do, but not only do you have those midnight arraignments, people think that court, in your case, for example, are Monday nights and the third Friday.
No.
Court is far more often than that. You have trials, you have hearings, you have proceedings, you have small claims proceedings. Essentially what I'm trying to say is that town justices are far, far busier than for the amount of money for which they're compensated, which again goes to my feeling that town justices and town courts are very well served by people who are there not for anything other than their sense of justice and their sense of community service, because the money that you get in exchange for the hours that you exercise it probably puts you below minimum wage.
I think I said the last program, Judge Fisher and I had figured out at one time, I think we were getting 39 cents an hour or something. But you can't be in it, to your point, for the money. It's a dedication, it's a lot of hard work, and it's either you love it or you hate it. And I have seen a number of individuals who have been elected to this position, and after 3 or 4 months have said, you know, this is not what I thought it was going to be. But to your point, it's a 24/7. And it's funny you should mention that. Just yesterday, here comes a couple troopers to the house to get a warrant signed.
Nice.
It happens all the time. So they don't even let you come up to court. They track you down at your house. Or you could be out to dinner. And I'm not a drinker. After I came down with diagnosed with sugar, I lost my taste for it, thank God. I mean, I still enjoy something once in a while at home, but I very seldom will have anything out. So they'll call. It's not unusual to be interrupted in the middle of dinner because they have a pressing matter, a search warrant they need signed, or an arrest warrant they need signed, or an arraignment. So guess what you do? You get up from dinner and you come down to court and you come back, and if you are late enough, then Mom will pay the bill. You know, late enough getting back.
But that's an interesting point. Again, all of these proceedings don't take place during regular business hours. Very few do.
Right.
I mean, you're there in regular business hours for purposes of handling the cases that have been filed in the previous month, and at calendar call, which is the third Friday of the month, that's to handle cases for which there's been a not guilty plea. But
before we leave, I want to stress to the viewers that if you have any questions regarding the law or procedures, call us. Call us at home. Jim and I don't mind getting the calls. That's what we're there for. Or stop in during a regular court night or something, and we'll find time to talk to you and help you out. But that's what we're there for, to help you understand the system and the procedures.
Actually, what I think more people ought to do, other than youthful offender proceedings or proceedings where there's a sex crime victim, they're all public proceedings.
Correct.
And I think what really people ought to do to see the magnitude, the extent, and the complexity of what justices do, they really ought to sit in on some court proceedings to see that it's not simple. How do you plead? Guilty, that's it, $50 fine. How do you plead? Not guilty, we'll set it for calendar call. That's just not even scratching the surface. That's barely touching the surface.
Excellent suggestion. Our courtroom, you have a nice brand new courtroom.
Boy, it is. It is very nice.
Thanks to the town fathers compared to what we used to have up in the village. But we welcome you to come in. It's open to the public, as Jim mentioned, and that's the best way to see what's going on in your local court system. We do get the high school kids from time to time, but once in a while we'll get somebody come in just to see what's going on, and we really welcome you and encourage you to do that.
I think that's a terrific idea. There's no better way other than to perhaps actually be in the system to see what goes on. And again, ladies and gentlemen in the audience, I assure you that you'll be astounded by the magnitude of work that's done, the complexity of it. The town justices do a great job. They serve the community well. You ought to be thankful that you have people like Judge Narducci and Judge Fisher, who's your other judge, who do such a fine job and care so much for the community and for the system to do that. Judge, we've got about 30 seconds left. Is there something you'd like to say in closing?
Not really, other than the fact that I've been at it since 1989, and I'll tell you that I still consider it an honor and a privilege to be able to serve my community through this office. It's the way I give back. And thank everybody out there for allowing me to continue to do the job.
And I thank you for your service, and I thank you especially for being my guest here this morning.
It's my pleasure.
To tell people what really goes on in the justice court system.
You really can't cover it in an hour.
No, you can't even come close. We are working, by the way, with Judge Narducci to try to get a series of videos available, which we hope will be informative and hopefully will be watched by the public to see what does go on and what proceedings actually appear to be.
Looking forward to that.
I am too. It's been my pleasure to be here as your guest host. I expect perhaps Reed may contact me sometime in the future to be a guest as well. Good morning, everyone. I realize that's not going to be the same for people who see this on the tape, but good morning, everyone. It's been my pleasure. Be well. Enjoy your weekend. Enjoy the last few snow days, or snowless days that we have. Yeah. Very good.